Hello and welcome to another Arkis video and to a new 2 million credit time trial challenge on Gran Turismo 7. This time we are at Nordschleife and we are in the 1995 Porsche 911 RS Club Sport 993, the last air-cooled Porsche 911, and we are on the sports hard tires. This time trial was live on the website before it opened, so I assume some drivers had some practice in beforehand. At least some drivers got some very quick times in rather quickly. This is my honest first impressions. It took some time, it's a long track. It took me 2.5 hours just to complete 4 laps, and this is the highlights from those 4 laps. And if you are enjoying the content, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe button. It is highly appreciated. And now let's jump into my very first lap. It is Thursday morning, the time trial has just opened. I'm jumping in, I am collecting my prize for the previous time trial at Laguna Seca, and now we are jumping in to this one. And my first lap is without a ghost, of course, because no one has completed a lap yet. You need to brake right after you cross the start-finish line, otherwise you will run wide already at the first corner. Now we're coming down the hill and you just need to lift off as you go through this corner, keep some weight on the front tires. And I don't really got a marker for this one other than brake early, because you need to sort of let go of the brake so you can make the car steer through that corner section. And also here, just be careful, this is all downhill, some awkward corners, most of them slightly blind as well, and this is a tricky one. Be careful where you are pointing your steering before getting back onto the power, otherwise you will continue turning right through a left-hander. Now we are coming up towards a very fast right-hander, and I'm looking for the red painted end of the barrier on the left. You need to drop a gear, let the car coast through so you meet both apexes and back onto the power. Now for this scary left-hander, you need to brake and drop a gear before hitting that crest, because otherwise you will fly off the track. Braking just before the end of the curb back there on the left-hand side. And through this corner, I'm exiting in 3rd gear. That seemed a bit more stable. And now for Adenauer Forst, I'm dropping a gear or 2. You can drop just 1 gear and then 2 gears through this part. And now we drop another gear coming into the left-hander. And I think I end up, I'm getting too much on the inside curb. The curbs are really tall, so be careful with those. Now I'm looking for that shiny part of the barrier on the right, dropping a gear, braking a bit and coasting through this corner. At the end of the concrete on the right hand side, I am dropping another gear, braking, and just be careful. I touch that inside curb that can unsettle the car, and using 2nd gear, but I think exiting in 3rd gear out of this one. And now we've got a sweeping left to right hander, and just keeping the car stable through that. Here we've got miss, hit, miss, and you are supposed to hit that middle apex. A bit narrow entry, so that wasn't the best run through there. Now we're coming down the hill, and this is a tight corner. That's turning in too early. Got a clumsy exit out of there. And we managed to keep alive though. Now we're coming down the hill. You need to brake early because you can get caught out. Just letting the car coast through this corner, and the same goes for the following corner. I'm braking a bit, but then just letting the car coast into the corner and carefully coming back onto the power. And now we're jumping ahead a bit. You have to brake really early here. There is a sign you can normally use, but you have to brake way before that one. That was a clumsy exit out of this corner. That is going to cost me some speed up the long straight, which we are at the end of. Now I'm braking as the grass turns into concrete on the outside. Dropping a gear back up to 5th gear. Really need to be brave through that corner. It's called bravery corner after all. You can almost stay flat. I'm lifting a bit just to make sure. Don't touch the inside curb. That's very important. Now we've got this tight corner. I'm trying to exit in 3rd gear. It can be done if you get the line right, but the car can bog down a bit. We've got the carousel coming up. I'm using where the curb is most towards the left as a braking reference. I am in 2nd gear and I'm staying in 2nd gear this time. I think I am going to use 3rd gear on the next run. Here I'm just doing a slight lift, staying towards the inside. Here you need to brake a bit, drop a gear and just coast over that crest, and the same goes for this one. Be careful. And now we need to get back to third gear. This is a long corner. Now we're coming down the hill, and be careful not to get too excited. Stay towards the right hand side, lift a bit, brake a bit to bring the car towards the left, and once again make sure you don't overcook it, because otherwise you will end off the track on the left hand side. And now we are approaching YouTube corner, and you need to brake early coming down the hill here, and this is all downhill, so make sure you don't get too much understeer. And now it's the final corner, coming out of the YouTube corners, up the hill, fighting the understeer a bit, not too bad this time. And here, avoid the curb on the left, cut a big chunk on the right, and now it's flat out down towards the jump just before the right-hander. I am getting on the brakes just before the car goes over the jump, dropping a gear and getting out of there. Make sure you don't run wide over that curb on the left-hand side, and then you will be in trouble. Now we've got this roller coaster part of the track, just almost flat out. You need to lift a tiny bit to make sure to stay on the track. Here we've got the end of the barrier, the red painted end, and we've got a short fence as well. I'm using those as references, dropping a couple of gears down to third gear for this left-hander. And now we've got the mini carousel. I am going to use third gear for that one, just trying to stay towards the inside. We are approaching the end of the lap now. We've got these corners. I am getting slowed down too much, and I hit that very tall inside curb. Don't do that. And now we are just trying to stay on the power without running wide, and we've got the long back straight. This first run without a ghost was sort of telling me my natural pace here, and this is my first completed lap. No restarts on this one, and we are going to complete this lap, so I know the track and I can do it at a comfortable cruising speed, but my comfortable cruising speed just isn't fast enough. A 7:52.276, so I'm both in top 10 and only got silver because P1 has really been practicing already in the 37s. But we are straight on to our second completed lap. And now that I had a ghost on, I could see how much I needed to push. And once I started to push, I was forcing the mistakes as well. So this is after several restarts, invalidated laps, crashing into walls, and so on. But we are trying to make our way through the first sector. Just keep it within the curbs, not cut too much. Sometimes you can take a big chunk there. For example, that one is not as tall, but some of the curbs are really tall and risky to get onto. And you will see that I'm almost spinning as I come out of there. Really hit the curb at an awkward angle. We're coming up towards this fast right-hander. A bit too wide there, but I found the second apex, but also lost a bit of momentum going sideways there. Down to fifth gear, braking a bit before coming over the hill. We are keeping the car on the track, braking just before the curb on the left-hand side, but we are too impatient. We didn't get the car slowed down properly, so we were fighting the understeer on the exit. Now we are coming into Adenauer Forst. We are dropping down to fifth gear, and we are dropping down another couple of gears down to third gear. And I am getting the lines all wrong now. Now I am way too far towards the right, and this final corner is getting way too tight on the curb as well, and a poor exit. But now we are coming into this rather fast corner down to fourth gear, letting the car coast through, braking around the end of that gray curb on the right hand side, and avoiding the curb on the inside. Now we are coming down here, and I am turning in a bit too narrow, so you will see I am fighting the car on the exit. You need to get a later apex than that. Now sweeping through these corners, just trying to keep the car stable, and this time it's going to be a miss, miss and miss corner. I didn't find that middle apex, but at least we didn't run wide on the exit. Getting the car slowed down really early. This is a slow corner, and we are making a better line around that this time, so a slightly better exit compared to my first lap. Now we are coming down the hill. We are braking before the curb ends on the right hand side. It's downhill, you are carrying some speed. It's a bit tricky to get the car slowed down. Braking a bit, coasting into this corner, carefully getting back onto the power once it's safe. And we are using the darker bit of barrier before the black sign on the right hand side, but you need to brake before that starts as well. You really need to brake early. Now we are at the end of the long uphill section and using a bit of fourth gear on the entry, but back up to fifth gear through Bravery Corner, and we are staying as flat as we dare. There is going to be a tiny lift there, avoiding the inside curb and getting the car all the way down to second gear and trying to exit in third gear. The car is bucking down a tiny bit, but we are making it out of there up towards the carousel. And we are bringing the car into the carousel down to second gear. This time I'm trying to exit in third gear, and that makes it easier to just floor it once you come out of there. And only a tiny bit of lifting there. Now we need to brake a bit, coasting into this corner. I'm dropping to third gear this time, back up to fourth gear. And we need third gear again. This is a slightly long corner. Now coming down the hill once again, I'm trying to keep the car towards the right hand side, and we need to slow it down a bit, get some weight on the front wheels, swing the car back over to the left, swing it back over to the right, constantly anticipating where you're going. And this corner opens up a bit so you can go faster, but you need to brake roughly at the end of that concrete curb on the inside. Now through YouTube corner, can we fight the understeer from coming downhill? We are almost running off getting the lap invalidated, but we kept it on, and now I got really hesitant through the second part of YouTube corner. Once again, avoiding the inside curb, but cutting a big chunk of the outside there, and now we are just going flat out, coming down towards the jump before the right-hander, so getting on the brakes just before the car takes off, so we keep the car stable. That's way too much of the inside curb. That's a tall curb as well, and you can see that messed up my lines completely. Had to almost try to salvage something, but you can see I lost a lot of time there. Coming through the roller coaster, almost running off the track there, and looking for the end of the barrier, the red painted end and the small fence. And we are getting the car slowed down to fourth gear, also a bit all over the place. I always get nervous once I get to the end of the lap, because then I am really scared that I will bin it. I often bin it coming through the mini carousel, which we are going through there, or even worse, up on this final corner before the long back straight. A bit too much of the inside curb once again, but we managed to carry some speed, but I touched the inside there again and got a bit of a shaky exit, but we did survive it. And now we are jumping to the end of the lap, and I am lifting quite a lot towards the end here. I just want to make sure I get the car stopped so I don't mess up this lap again. You can look for the red line on both the left and right side barrier. That's a good marker for braking for the final corner, and we are across the line in a 7:47.239. That is not gold anymore. It was gold during the morning, but you need to go faster than that. So this is now my third completed lap. We are going to jump a bit faster through this one. We've loaded a different ghost, which is going even faster now, so I'm having to push even harder. So I have made even more restarts, crashes, mistakes, invalidated laps, and so on. But we are making our way through the first sector, and these corners very much feels like the start of coming down the mountain at Bathurst. You have to brake sort of 2 times, let go of the brake, so you can also steer the car through the corners. And still a bit too much curb now and then. Can we survive this corner this time? That's a bit wide, but we got out of there a bit more stylish than the last time. And we found the first and the second apex of that sort of double right-hander. And this is going to be a bit too close to the right-hand side edge. But we managed to stay on the track, also sort of get the car slowed down, and We got an okay exit out of there, all things considered. Now up towards Adenauer Forst, down to third gear, trying to find the right lines, widening the line into this one, but once again this is going to be a clumsy line, cutting way too much, and that will just unsettle the car. I really need to stop doing that, need some more practice. We are getting a better line through this slow left-hander this time, getting a later apex and getting a cleaner run out of there, and short shifting to third gear because the car can easily slide a bit. Here I was way too optimistic, and you can see how much time I lost there. But now we are coming up the hill. We made it through there just fine. We are jumping ahead. We are at the carousel now, coming into the carousel in second gear up to third gear, and just trying to floor it once we can see the line out of there. And we are jumping a bit again. We are coming into YouTube corner, and can I keep it from understeering? I have a bad habit once again on this lap. I'm turning in a tiny bit too narrow, and then I just have to fight the understeer out of there. Once again, just avoiding the inside curb, cutting a big chunk, maybe even a bit too much of a chunk because I lost some time, braking before the jump, and making our way through there. That was a bit too wide once again, and that makes it a bit tricky to get out of there in one piece. We are towards the end of the lap now, slowing the car down, and down to third gear. You can also easily run off into the gravel here, so you have to be careful now for the mini carousel, using third gear. And yeah, we kept it inside this time, but I'm always a bit scared of that carousel. I think this time I am really getting some understeer, and you can see how much I have to lift off at the exit, and lifting off so close to the final part of the corner, that's just going to cost you all the way down the straight. I'm a bit braver this time coming into the final corners, almost maybe a bit too brave. We got the car stopped, looking for the two red lines, there they are, and slowing the car down, exiting in third gear. Maybe a bit of second is faster, but third gear is more stable, and we are down to 742.864, but I've driven for 90 minutes now just to complete 3 laps. This is really a tough one, and we are jumping onto the final run of the video. If I go any faster, I will try it in VR, and I will post it in the comment section below. But we are starting the final lap of the video, coming through turn 1, coming down the hill. We are going to lift slightly to make sure to go through that corner, but don't touch too much of the curb on the inside. Braking early, letting go of the brake slightly so you can also steer the car, just trying to keep the car stable and smooth through this bit. Now we need to slow down again, coming down here. You can cut a big chunk as I did there, but that other curb on the left hand side, that's not too good an idea to cut that one. And here I almost lose it once again, and you can see the ghost is running away. How about this corner? We found that apex. Are we finding the second one? Not really. We are coming up towards the left-hander, braking before the hill, and I think, yeah, I ended up on the inside, so now I'm just committed to make the inside line work. So we just try to keep the car narrow and at least get a good exit, and we actually got a decent exit out of there despite the mistake coming into the corner. Now Adenauer Forst, dropping down to third gear, a bit wobbly there. I still need to get used to get this car through these corners. I think I'm still cutting a bit there and unsettling the car. Not as bad as the other times, but definitely I can do that better. And now watch out for the big brain fade in this one. I simply forgot to brake. It was lucky that I kept it on the track, but you can see how much time I lost just on that corner. So that just tells me I can improve this lap, but we carry on. We are still alive now, coming down the hill through the fast left to right hander. We've got miss coming up. I'm entering at a narrow angle, almost running wide on the exit. You can see I had to lift several times on the grass as well. That was rather clumsy. We are getting the car slowed down. At least we are finding not any apex, to be fair, but we didn't come in too narrow at least. And now we are just braking early for this one, touching the inside curb. I should just stop doing that. Coasting into this corner, carefully getting back onto the power. maybe a bit onto the curb. We survived it. And can we get a good exit out of this one? We are trying to keep it in third gear and just floor it up the hill. We've got a long full power section. We are at the end of that, coming through Bravery corner. Ooh, a bit too much of the curb once again. The curbs are really tall. I've said it so many times in this video. Maybe I should start listening to my own advice. Now we are coming into this tight corner leading up to the carousel. Up to third gear. Can I keep it planted without bogging down too much? We are actually going to stay on board all the way to the back straight now, coming through the carousel down to second gear, up to third gear, trying to just straight line the exit out of there. And now we've got this fast sweeping sector leading all the way down to YouTube corner. We are coming up here full speed. I'm only lifting a tiny bit this time now. And now we need to drop a gear, coast into this corner. And yeah, I'm shortly dropping down to third gear, but back up again. Now down to third gear. Be patient around this corner. It's easy to run off. Now coming down the hill once again, keeping towards the right hand side. A bit of braking to bring the nose back over to the left, and once again lift off to make sure to keep the car on the track. You can see the Ghost was almost running off the track as well. Now I'm braking at the end of the concrete on the left hand side, coasting into this corner. This is downhill, so just let the car coast so it can still have some grip on the front wheels. Do I keep it on the track? Yes, we keep it. And am I coming in a bit too? Yeah, I'm definitely getting some understeer once again, but we are still alive now, avoiding the inside curb, cutting a big chunk of this one, just keeping it flat all the way down the hill. Now we've got the jump coming up. Be careful on those curbs once again. Braking just before the jump, down to fourth gear, trying to keep the line there so you don't run wide on the exit. I'm on the grass as well. That is not advisable. Coming down the roller coaster, just keeping it almost flat. I'm lifting a bit this time, still almost off the track. Looking for the end of the barrier and the small fence on the left hand side. Down to fourth gear, coasting into this corner, carefully back onto the power, down to third gear. And this is also a tricky corner, keeping it alive. And I think this time maybe the mini carousel, I'm almost coming out of it a bit too early, but we keep it going. Now we are looking at the final corners. I avoided the curb this time, and I think we managed to get better onto the power this time, and we are on the back straight and we are up on our time. Now we're coming into the final corners, braking just before the end of the curb on the right hand side, getting the car slowed down, using a bit of second gear but using third on the exit. And I think I'm actually using second gear on the exit this time to see if I could get a bit more speed out of it. But we are going across the line in the 740.455. And with those mistakes, I know I can get below 740. So that's my next goal, and that will be in VR. So if there are any updates, they will be in the comment section. This was my rather long first impressions run. It's tricky to do this long track without any mistakes along the way, so this took longer than I expected, but the car is fun to drive. It's got much better brake than I expected it to have, and actually a fair amount of grip even on those sports hard tires. I hope you enjoyed the video, found it entertaining, maybe even somewhat useful. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.